Das ist Sire.
Wer ist denn bitte Sire?
Unser alter Sergeant.
Sire! Sire! Ich hab einen Tripper.
Wo ist Brammer?
Los! Wir müssen weiter. Kommt!
Wiedersehen.
Sind Sie das wirklich? Wir dachten, Sie wären tot.
Vielleicht klappt's nächstes Mal.
Lassen Sie Ihre Verletzungen versorgen. Ich schicke Ihnen gleich jemanden. Wir müssen jetzt weiter. Ich bin sicher, dass wir uns wiedersehen. Nicht wahr, Sire? Fahren Sie.
Erotische Inselträume am Samstag bei RTL+. Die schönen Wilden von Ibiza führen Sie in eine Oase der Leidenschaft. Träumen Sie mit. Am Samstag um 22:40 Uhr bei RTL+. Ein aufregender Südseetraum erwartet sie am Samstag um 0:10 Uhr.
Teach me tiger.
Die erotischen Abenteuer des Robinson Crusoe. Am Samstag bei RTL+.
Wie wär's denn?
The explanation of what's going on.
And inspectors are suspicious because more plutonium or devices to detonate a nuclear weapon have not been found.
We have to know what we don't know and realize that with each new discovery, we find that the program was more ambitious and more effective than had previously been anticipated.
Iraq has also disclosed one biological weapons laboratory with equipment to produce anthrax and botulinum toxins.
That is capable of producing vast quantities of biological warfare agents and certainly provided a capability to have a limited number of biological weapons.
U.S. officials say they are not satisfied with the progress of inspections.
Based on the pattern of Iraqi behavior, there is every reason to believe that they have not yet disclosed all their capabilities.
To keep up the pressure, today's Security Council resolution promises stepped-up inspections, including U-2 spy plane surveillance. But the experience of the last year gives little assurance the UN will find anything the Iraqis want to hide. Bob Jamieson, ABC News, New York.
If there is any movement on the hostage situation today, it's well out of sight. The UN Secretary General, Paris de Cuellar, has left Geneva for a few days of vacation. He still says he's hopeful of arranging a hostage swap, but it may take weeks. The next step appears to be up to those militants in Lebanon who have information about the 7 missing Israeli servicemen. Today in Lebanon, the country's leading Muslim cleric said for the first time that those militants should disclose everything they know about the Israelis. When we come back, a federal judge rules on a controversial plan for young black males in Detroit. On the American agenda, alcoholics being turned away from the treatment they need. The problem is money. And doctors turning to Madison Avenue. Their problem is their image.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by Bufferin.
Now you can ask Angela Lansbury about Bufferin.
Angela, you've said on TV that Bufferin is effective pain relief. Is it really strong aspirin?
I'll say it is. Extra strength Bufferin's the strongest dose of aspirin you can buy. 1,000 milligrams.
Angela, how can Bufferin be so strong if it has buffers?
That's a good question. I've learned the buffers don't weaken it. They just help prevent aspirin's stomach upset. Bufferin's great pain relief.
Shouldn't you discover the strength of Bufferin?
A lot of you insist on eating wheat thins and oat thins because they taste good. But the whole idea behind these crackers is that you can eat them without feeling guilty. That's why they're baked, not fried. I mean, eat them because they're delicious, and you miss the whole point.
Poison ivy, insect bites, rashes. Too many choices.
You only need one. Cordaid.
Stop the itch and heal the rash with a brand doctors recommend most.
Present arms.
Cordaid, the only aid you need.
Detroit's plan to give young black males a leg up in school has run up against the nation's civil rights laws designed to stop sex discrimination. Last night we reported on the plan to open 3 schools in Detroit just for young black males. But as ABC's Tom Foreman reports, a federal judge today said that would be illegal, that girls cannot be kept out.
A small group of protesters gathered outside the federal court today, making a last public plea to open the doors to the all-male academies.
Let's try. All right. Let's try.
Educators here have said all along that special schools just for black boys could help control many problems for young black men. Problems of crime, drugs, and murder. But the federal judge did not buy the school board's arguments. Although he acknowledged that serious problems face young black males, he agreed with the American Civil Liberties Union that schools just for black boys would violate the rights of girls to an equal education. The decision infuriated parents who were counting on the new schools to help keep their sons out of trouble.
Is the only thing in this world supposed to do is to save women? What are you doing? Is black boys that are the endangered species, as the judge mentioned over and over and over.
The ruling does not necessarily mean the end for the special schools. Indeed, the ACLU and the school board were ordered to discuss some sort of compromise to include girls.
We will make ourselves available to work with them in any way that we can so that these schools can begin in the fall.
So far, school officials are not commenting on the ruling or where they go from here. Tom Foreman, ABC News, Detroit.
More on this story tonight on Nightline with one of the men who thought up the idea and a leader of a women's group that is dead set against it. Federal and state investigators say they still don't know if they're dealing with the nation's worst serial killer ever or just a liar. Donald Evans, who's in jail in Gulfport, Mississippi, claims he killed more than 60 people in 20 states. But authorities say they'll need a lot more time to determine whether Evans is telling the truth. Here's Mike Von Prem.
Donald Leroy Evans has been given a section of the jail to himself. He is allowed to watch TV, and according to his lawyer, Evans is pleased with news reports about his confessions. There is evidence linking Evans to 3 murders, 1 here in Mississippi and 2 in Florida. But officials say they are not yet prepared to link him to any other killings.
We intend to do a long, solid, grind it out, confirm it sort of investigation, just so we don't get into problems that have sometime arisen in these cases which are naturally spectacular, and we can't avoid that.
The kind of case the officials here would like to avoid is that of Henry Lee Lucas, a Texas drifter who received national attention in 1983 when he claimed to have killed 300 people. Police believed him, but Lucas was convicted of only 13 murders and now insists his mother was his only real victim.
You're not going to see us doing a Henry Lucas thing. You're going to see this thing done right, by the numbers, right down the line.
Criminologists say it's not uncommon for people to exaggerate their crimes.
These guys love control, and indeed they're controlling the American attention through the help of the media.
Authorities in Gulfport have set up special facilities to handle calls from police across the country who want to know if Evans can provide new leads in old cases. FBI agents who specialize in serial crimes have examined Evans, but say they don't know how long it will take to determine if he's telling the truth. Mike Von Prem, ABC News, Gulfport.
In economic news, the housing industry continues to show improvement. Housing starts were up 3.7% in July. It's the 4th gain in a row, and that's the first time that's happened in 11 years. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrials lost nearly 7 points to close at 29.98. The trading was moderate. When we come back, reassessing some old toxic enemies.
So you just got a cash advance, did you? Too bad you used an ordinary credit card, because you could be carrying some very heavy interest charges. Why not carry the Discover card? Just pay your full monthly balance and a small transaction fee, and we'll forget the interest, which means our money comes with no strings attached. It pays to Discover.
One use of STP Fuel Injector Cleaner helps remove clogging deposits, and that should be of passing interest to a lot of drivers. STP Fuel Injector Cleaner.
At Prudential Real Estate, our agents are trained to be prepared.
Now, where are we?
Briarwood. Good schools, low taxes, Crescent Street.
Don't you know that?
Lilacs.
Prudential Real Estate. We're prepared to make it happen.
I knew something must be wrong. I was getting these sharp pains, and sometimes pressure and bloating. I'm glad I asked my doctor. He said it was gas and recommended Mylicon.
Mylanta's Mylicon Gas. It has the best medicine for gas.
Here's news. If your athlete's foot won't go away, you could have more than athlete's foot. You could have a secondary yeast infection. That's right, yeast.
Only Mycotin cures both athlete's foot and secondary yeast infections with Myconazole. Step up to the Mycotin.
For years, we've become used to the federal government warning us of the dangers of various chemical compounds, such as asbestos, alar, and dioxin. But it turns out that in some cases, the fears may have been exaggerated. Now, as Ned Potter reports, the government is taking a second look to see if the hazards are really that bad.
In Chicago, the American Medical Association says the government is forcing a tremendous waste of money by ordering asbestos removed from every building. On the West Coast, apple farmers are banned from using alar, even though other countries allow it. And in Times Beach, Missouri, the government forced 2,000 people to move from their homes, even though it now wonders if the dioxin there was that dangerous.
We respond to sound science. When it changes, we'll change our regulatory policies.
Many people are now questioning the government's response to environmental fears. And some in industry say those questions are long overdue, that government agencies have been panicking over relatively minor hazards.
Sometimes they will sort of dismiss what solid, peer-reviewed mainstream science has to say, and they will respond based on political pressure.
But environmental activists say the government is now responding too much to business groups.
There are a lot of economic pressures on EPA to redefine the dioxin problem out of existence.
Meanwhile, the people of Times Beach, Missouri are still kept from their homes.
We feel like we're caught in the middle, and until the scientific community can agree that the dioxin either is or isn't harmful, we're going to continue to be torn by announcements like this announcement today.
Government officials are quick to say they are not suddenly declaring any chemical hazard over. They say we still need to find out, but using science, not politics. Ned Potter, ABC News, Washington.
Another story about dangers to the environment, this one in Northern California. On the surface, it appears that all is well with the Sacramento River, several weeks after a massive toxic spill. But as Gary Shepard reports, many scars remain.
The water is clear now. The pesticide has been washed away. But biologists from California's Department of Fish and Game, who've begun the painstaking job of surveying the damage, say the Sacramento River has been nearly sterilized.
What we're seeing in the river itself is virtually nothing alive. I did find some pieces of crayfish that were dead, nothing in the way of insects, snails, small fish, anything at all.
Last month, when a Southern Pacific freight train derailed, the 20,000 gallons of pesticide that spilled killed just about everything along a 45-mile stretch of the waterway.
We haven't seen anything like that here, the kill being so complete all the way down to the algae and the smallest, tiniest of organisms. So it makes it all challenging to understand what the long-term implications of that are.
It isn't just the river that was devastated. Before the spill, there were 250 different species of living creatures along the banks of the Sacramento. Now, scientists have discovered that without the river to support it, the wildlife has gone elsewhere.
Their habitat has been eliminated. Their food source, the way they earn their living, is gone. And so the impacts for those kinds of creatures are still occurring.
Even plant life has been affected. Many trees and shrubs are turning brown and losing their leaves months before normal. Fish and game officials will wait until next spring before making a final decision on restocking the river with trout.
The economy here depends heavily on sport fishing, but scientists would prefer not to use hatchery trout. They would rather see native fish return naturally from upstream areas, a process that could take many years.
We don't want to jump in and start meddling with things. We know nature has its ways and that it'll probably take care of itself.
Scientists are not sure how long it will take before the river's ecosystem is completely back to normal, but there are some hopeful signs. New bright green algae is already reappearing in the river, right alongside the dead brown algae that was killed only a month ago. Gary Shepard, ABC News, on the Sacramento River in Northern California.
A health warning today. The government says more than 400 people in 23 states have become ill this summer with salmonella food poisoning. The unlikely source? Cantaloupes. Scientists say it's very unusual. The problem is some kind of contamination on the outside of the melon, and washing it thoroughly before cutting it up should solve it. When we return, the American agenda, cutting back on the cost of medical care, the price for this country's drug and alcohol abusers.
What traits do you look for in a financial firm? A herd mentality? Unsteadiness? Complacency? Or do you look for strength? Stability? Knowledge of the world? What traits do you look for?
Color Tile. For 5 days only, Color Tile is offering you 25 to 50% off ticketed prices. Color Tile, like ceramic tiles now 49 cents, vinyl styles now 51 cents. All DuPont Stainmaster carpet drastically reduced 25 to 50% off ticketed prices. For example, now only $11.99 a square yard, plus mini blinds, wall coverings, and wood flooring too. Color Tile, a 25 to 50% off ticketed prices. You can't beat the value only through Sunday. Color Tile.
Like to try Total?
Special K's my love.
Hope you're hungry. Takes almost 3 bowls of Special K to get the nutrition in 1 bowl of Total.
3? It's just me here.
Well, just 1 bowl of Total has 100% of 12 vitamins and minerals.
Total's got what it takes.
Today, there's a prescription-strength cure for athlete's foot. Lotrimin AF, the #1 prescribed athlete's foot medication available without a prescription. Lotrimin AF, the prescription-strength cure for athlete's foot.
Kathy's part of the family, just like our children are.
We've been taking our daily walks since he was a puppy.
At Hearts Mountain, our goal is to help you improve your pet's quality of life. The Hearts 2-in-1 Flea and Tick Collar is just one way we do that. By killing fleas and ticks for up to 5 months, the Hearts Collar helps make your pet more comfortable. Helping to improve your pet's quality of life is your responsibility. Helping you do that is Hearts.
On the American agenda, we return to the soaring cost of health care and some of the compromises that are being forced on the people who need it. Tonight, the more than 2.5 million Americans who seek help each year for drug or alcohol abuse. It was only in the 1970s that most insurance companies began to pay for treatment of drug and alcohol problems. Now, because of the rising costs, insurance companies often refuse to pick up the tab. Our agenda correspondent, Kathleen Delasky, on some of the consequences.
Jeremy Miller started drinking at age 11. At 16, he is an alcoholic.
Most of my friends just drink a few and quit, but after I drink a few, I can't quit.
Jeremy tried drug counseling, but he says it failed. Now he has quit school and been in trouble with the police. At 16, his life in small-town Iowa is falling apart. Do you think this is a problem that you can fix yourself?
No, because I've already tried.
Jeremy's family wants him to check into a hospital for treatment, but his health maintenance organization, or HMO, has decided that Jeremy is not sick enough for inpatient treatment.
Hospitals and programs have tried to set a mindset in the community that inpatient is the standard of care, is the needed kind of care, because that's very, very profitable for hospitals. Unfortunately, it's very, very costly for us people who got to pay our health care dollars.
My name's Joan. I'm an alcoholic and addict. Hi, Joan.
I'm Bob. I'm chemically dependent.
So, as a second choice, Jeremy's family hoped to get him into this cheaper outpatient program, where he would get 12 hours of treatment a day for several weeks. But his HMO would cover only a fraction of the $6,100 cost. His parents could not afford the difference, so Jeremy sits at home. Even the HMO's therapist admitted privately that Jeremy is not getting the help he needs.
It made me feel like they don't really care what happens.
What's your estimated length of stay for her?
All over the country, insurance companies are telling policyholders to find cheaper treatment. Most insurers are now reluctant to cover what used to be standard treatment for addiction, 28 days in a clinic or hospital.
If it were treating heart disease or cancer or some of the primary diseases that affect everyone and are acceptable diseases, they couldn't get by with this in this way.
Harold Hughes is a former U.S. Senator and recovering alcoholic. He runs this treatment center in Des Moines. He says the treatment network that saved him is being dismantled by the insurance industry. Staff members tell him they turn away 2 to 3 addicts a week because insurance won't pay.
I have sent patients home and I have seen their names in the obituaries in a short time.
Meanwhile, more than half the beds here are empty. In the past 2 years, an estimated 200 private centers around the country have gone out of business. Insurance companies say treatment centers have only themselves to blame. During the 1980s, they say, private centers abused the system, checking patients into clinics for months of treatment just to make money. Now, cases are scrutinized more carefully. Kathy Gremmels says that scrutiny is jeopardizing her recovery. Her family wanted her to have inpatient care because she considered suicide after a drunk driving arrest and a long battle with alcoholism.
The next day, I almost wish I would have done it because I still felt worthless inside.
Considering suicide used to be enough to get inpatient treatment. But under tighter guidelines, Kathy's insurer, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Iowa, approved only an outpatient program, which is $2,000 cheaper. If her doctor and her parents and she all want inpatient, why can't she have that?
Because the services that she needs are available on a different level of care, and different doesn't mean worse.
I was trying to go the whole day without drinking.
But many doctors say there is not conclusive evidence to support that position, and they fear the whole industry is moving toward outpatient treatment based on economic rather than medical reasons. And when these cheaper treatment options do not work, more and more addicts are left alone to fight their illness. In Jeremy's case, he's still drinking. Kathleen Delaski, ABC News, Milo, Iowa.
We'll have our final report in a moment.
Introducing a new toothbrush that's specially designed to remove plaque from even hard-to-reach teeth. And understandably, it's a Plax toothbrush, the new Plax plaque-removing toothbrush.
This is the sound of Unisom, the sound of sleep. With Unisom, you hit your pillow and fall asleep fast. Tonight, you can sleep more soundly with Unisom, America's #1 sleep aid.
What am I doing here? This is my meeting!
Just a sprinkle a day helps keep odor away.
Shower to shower body powder with baking soda to fight odor and absorbent cornstarch.
Add your hand to sprinkle today.
Over 20% of the population can have trouble digesting dairy foods, but lactate caplets can help us easily digest any dairy foods we want.
It's natural. Also comes in real milk. Only Lactate gives you so many ways to enjoy dairy foods.
Every evening, we pack over 700,000 passengers onto our planes. No drinks are served, no meals are prepared. Yet our customers love our service, like our UPS Next Day Air Letter. Guaranteed overnight delivery by 10:30 a.m. And for just $9.75, far less than other companies charge. No one seems to mind that there's no in-flight movie.
12 years after this 6-year-old disappeared, Primetime gets the first TV interview with the prime suspect, plus hospital markups. Last week, Primetime reported a 60-cent thermometer patients were charged $11.80 for. The investigation continues tonight.
Finally tonight, what the doctors are prescribing for themselves. It doesn't take a specialist to understand that doctors are having a serious image problem. Some think the cure lies on Madison Avenue. So this week, the American Medical Association has begun its first national advertising campaign.